Now, low water levels in one of Europe's major rivers are causing problems for the people and businesses that rely on it. Water levels in the Rhine in Germany have dropped significantly in recent days. Several ferry services have been brought to a standstill, and it's expected levels will drop again today, potentially affecting cargo vessels.
Carol will have all the weather for us here in a few minutes' time, because we've got some rain on the way, haven't we, in some places, but maybe not the right kind of rain, apparently. And after another dry weekend, gosh, it's baking, wasn't it?
It was. What were you saying about the wrong type of rain?
Well,
should we let Carol explain?
Yeah, let's do that.
Should we just leave Carol to do the stuff?
Yeah, I'm intrigued by that one, John.
I thought it was
the wrong type of rain. But it's going to be wet, yes. But anyway, good morning, everybody. This morning, it's still quite mild for many parts of the UK. Temperatures haven't fallen away that much overnight. Now, for the last week, temperatures somewhere in the UK have been 30 degrees or more. Yesterday, it was 34.1 in Charlwood. But this week, it is turning cooler, and we're looking at some thunderstorms almost anywhere. And some of those could be heavy and also thundery. Now, we've got them at the moment across eastern Scotland, parts of northwest England, the Isle of Man, just off the shore of Wales. But as we go through the day, the Met Office has got a yellow weather warning out for the whole of the UK, where we could see some thunderstorms. And if you catch one, as I mentioned, they could be torrential. They could lead to some flash flooding because the ground is so dry. We're looking at some persistent rain also moving in across the north of Scotland, and also breezy across the north and west of Scotland and Northern Ireland. Now, these are our temperatures, 15 to 23 in the north, but we could still see a 30 somewhere in the southeastern corner. Now, into tonight, the rain pushes towards the east. There will still be some showers around, still the risk of some of those being thundery, and some more coming up from the south. And temperatures tonight, well, still in the north, we're looking at 11 to 15, still quite humid as we push further south. Tomorrow, that rain moves a little bit further eastwards. It's still going to be heavy and persistent, and we still do have the risk of thunderstorms as we go through the day, but rather like today, they are going to be hit and miss, and it's going to be noticeably breezy with a northerly breeze, and temperatures falling away to a much more comfortable 25 to 27 at best. John and Sal.
Thank you for putting me right. It all makes
I didn't. Oh, John, I'm sorry.
No. That's what I heard, that it was. Maybe what I should have made is kind of the right kind of rain in the wrong kind of places, or in the wrong kind of way.
No, John, just stop.
I think perhaps what's meant is we're going to have some torrential downpours, and the ground is so dry it could lead to some flooding. That's probably what it meant.
There you go.
What I meant.
There you go.
What you meant. What you were trying to say, John. I knew that's what you meant.
Press the red button throughout the programme for Carol's translation of everything we say. See you again a bit later.
Bless you. Bless you.
Got there in the end.
Thanks, Carol.
Star reports on the latest drought measures, which may include a ban, it says, on cleaning windows.
And the Sun says drip, drip, hooray on its front page. The paper looking ahead to 3 days of downpour. Who'd have thought we were looking forward to rain like that? But they are today, after all that long, hot, dry weeks of weather. Finally, a bit of a breakthrough for some.
That's your story.
Wrong kind of rain.
Wrong kind of rain.
It's only 6:45 this Monday morning, and we start the week with rain.
Yeah, all change.
What's that? Rain.
Carol, better explain it. Morning, Carol.
Good morning, both. Good morning to you too. Yes, some of us are going to see some rain today. Some of us have it at the moment. And as we go through this week, what you'll find is it's going to be cooler than last week by quite a lot, actually. And there'll be some thunderstorms in the forecast. But note the wind directions coming in from the west. So we've got more of an Atlantic influence on our weather as we head towards the end of the week. So there'll be fewer showers and that westerly breeze. And you can see the temperatures here. We're looking closer to where they should be at this stage in August. Sal and John.
Normal service being resumed. Thank you, Carol. See you later.
Pleasure. Good morning, both. Good morning to you too. It certainly is a change from the weather we had last week. This week it's going to be cooler, temperatures closer to where we'd expect them at this stage in August. And we're also looking at thunderstorms. In fact, the Met Office has a yellow weather warning. That's one of the lower warnings across the whole of the UK for today. And that is for thunderstorms.
So after days of baking in the heat, we're now, as Carol has been saying, facing a deluge of rain. It's going to be short, it's going to be sharp, but in some places it could lead to flooding.
Well, our reporter Alexis Green is on a farm in Hampshire for us this morning. Now, Alexis, the crops, we know they need water, but are they actually going to get too much of it?
Possibly not, no, Sally. In fact, the water that does fall from the skies could just run off, with the ground being very hard at the moment. Now, the Environment Agency have moved 8 of its 14 areas in England into drought status. Yorkshire and the West Midlands will follow very shortly. Yorkshire say it's been the driest period in 150 years, going back to when records started. And farmers in Fife have been temporarily banned from taking water from the River Eden for their fields. Let's talk to a farmer here in Andover, in Hampshire. Matt Cully, who's also from the National Farmers Union. Matt, how has this year fared in terms of dry and hot weather compared to other years?
So the dryness we've seen June, July and August has compounded a very dry spring, and we haven't seen any discernible rain since the end of May, and this is the driest I've ever known it on this farm. We've, like I said, we've had no rain at all, and it's really compounded the dry spring.
Indeed. What about the crops here in Andover? How have they fared over the last year?
So the crops started okay. The crops we sowed last autumn were good to average in terms of their yield, but as we've progressed through harvest into the crops that we planted in the spring, then we've seen a fall off in yield. For instance, my field beans, they were half the yield that I budgeted for, and this crop behind me, this crop of forage maize, should be twice the size as it is now, and so that's obviously impacting badly.
You speak to farmers with livestock. How are they coping?
They're really struggling in this area. There's no grass growth, very little lush grass growth, so they're now feeding winter rations. Livestock and dairy farmers got their cows inside, and they're feeding into their winter rations, which is going to impact on their production.
Now, we're expecting thunderstorms over the next few days, but some rain could cause problems, couldn't it?
It will cause problems potentially for crops that are still out there to be harvested. They're in quite a fragile state, so things like spring grape. But also it could cause runoff from banks with hard soil that we've got at the moment, like concrete. The rain's just going to run off it.
Now, very quickly, the ground is tinder dry, perfect conditions for fires.
Yeah, we've seen lots of fires in the area in the last couple of weeks. Plumes of smoke from the surrounding area where field fires and machinery fires have happened. So it's a real tinderbox conditions for us still. So it's really important that we're all aware, the public are aware that, they make sure that they extinguish any naked flames properly and be really aware of the countryside they're in.
Matt, thanks so much for joining us. As Carol said in the forecast, there is that Met Office yellow thunderstorm warning in force. And that came into force for Scotland and Northern Ireland at midnight last night. It comes into force for England and Wales as of 10 o'clock this morning.
I thought we could hear a bit of that thunder rumbling in the background there, Alexis. Thank you very much indeed. I don't think it was. I think it was maybe it was Matt's tummy rumbling. I don't know, for breakfast.
I think it was the microphone.
You're right.
Let's leave Matt alone.
I think you're right. But there are clouds coming in and even a bit of rain. Carol can tell us where and when. Morning.
Good morning, both. Good morning to you too. John, of course, is absolutely right. As we go through this week, it's going to be cooler than it was last week, and we're looking at thunderstorms. So these big cumulonimbus clouds building, and some of us will see some torrential downpours.
Because it's changing, isn't it, Carol?
It certainly is, Sal. Yes, good morning, everyone. Sal is absolutely right. The weather this week quite different from last week. For starters, it's going to be cooler, and we're also looking at some thunderstorms. Some of those will be quite intense and could lead to some issues with flooding, but not all of us will catch one.